A lot of times we see agency not really following best practices, try to really overcomplicate things. With Meta, that it's been around for the past 15 years, we are still seeing a lot of things that we consider not best practices. So a lot of agencies that are really trying to kind of beat the platform on the targeting side, which is crazy.
That literally has nothing to do. There is no correlation between your cost per click and your business being profitable.
In this episode of Social Commerce Club, Brywin and Matteo join the show to expose why so many agencies fail, how media buying has evolved, and what actually drives performance on TikTok Shop today.
The people vetting the agencies are not the people who actually run the marketing team 9 times out of 10, at least from my experience.
Is outdated strategy, traffic, engagement, awareness. And
their exact words is, I don't know what my agency is doing. They don't tell me. I don't know what the strategy is. I don't know if there is one, but I'm not happy with the media buying and I don't know why.
There's a ton of agencies that suck, but
how many agencies still suck at media buying? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Social Commerce Club podcast. When the marketing world said we do not need another podcast in this space, I said, hold my non-alcoholic beer. Guys, my name is Jordan West. I've been hosting the Secrets to Scaling Your E-commerce Brand podcast for more years than most of you have been in marketing, over 700 episodes. And I thought to myself, we need another podcast where we can actually discuss the things that most marketers are thinking about. Today, Parker and I, who are your regular hosts, just in case you're wondering here, we have on Brywin Travers to talk all things why agencies suck. And Matteo, Matteo, I love how I didn't even say your last name, Denegri?
Yeah, Denegri.
Matteo has been working with us for years, and I avoid his last name like the plague, just because I'm just worried about not pronouncing it right. Super excited to dive into this episode today and show you guys why we are having our token Italian on the podcast today. Before we get into it, Parker Kump, set us up. What are we talking about today?
Oh, we're talking about everything from why agencies suck, some hot takes on internal teams, media buying. I mean, we probably got one of the better media buyers I've ever come across in Matteo. Everything from the best pasta recipe. No, I'm just kidding on that one. But hopefully Matteo's got a family recipe that's been passed down from generation to generation he can gift us with one day. But I would say it's definitely going to be circling around internal versus agencies, some media buying hacks, and then just see where we go from there. We never stay on script too long.
I'm going to set the stage here. I used to have a shirt and in the background here that said agencies suck. That was one of the things that I really truly believed. And I think that there's a million reasons why I thought this, but I want to go into today's first topic. Matteo gets to audit a lot of ad accounts. Matteo, how many millions of dollars do you think you spent on Meta just in ads lifetime? Do you have any sort of like number in your head?
Yes. I think, it's definitely not going to be accurate, but probably about 40 million. 40
million. Okay. So that's a dollar or two, right? Like, yeah, I think Matteo, and you know what the great thing about, we talked about if you missed the first episode, you must go back to the first Social Commerce Club episode so you can really understand the hierarchy that really goes on here. But I'll just remind you of the hierarchy here at Social Commerce Club, just so everyone can kind of understand. President here, Parker actually reports to me as CEO. So just in case you're kind of like
El Presidente.
Yeah, it's very, very important. So knowing that Matteo has spent $40 million on ads, I actually literally just added that to my LinkedIn bio to add to the amount of dollars that I have personally spent on different platforms. That's the great thing about kind of being in the position that I'm in too. Parker, I'm going to allow you to do the same thing. And actually, Matteo, in a way, actually reports to Brywin. So Brywin, you can actually add that to your resume as well.
We've all spent it.
Beautiful. I'm riding high on the shoulders of Matteo.
So this episode is going to be coming out sometime in December. I think people are looking at their budgets. They're looking at what their agencies are doing. Matteo, how many agencies still suck at media buying?
Great question. So, because Parker, you asked about all the accounts that we're auditing. I would say a lot. I know, again, in some cases,
give it a percentage. Like how many of these agencies just pure suck? And then I want to know what the suck is.
Okay. In our case, because we're really auditing a lot of accounts both on the TikTok shop side and just, let's just say D2C Meta, so they're both very different. I would say starting with TikTok shop a lot. I think simply because a lot of agencies don't really know what's working and what's not working. So I think in terms of setups, especially because I'm on the media buying side, a lot of times we see agencies not really following best practices, try to really overcomplicate things. But of course, it's a new platform, so I would say that's actually quite normal. And we are in a very privileged position because we were one of the first ones. So I think we have that competitive advantage. Now, on the other hand, with Meta, that it's been around for the past, 15 years, we are still seeing a lot of things that we consider not best practices. So a lot of agencies that are really trying to kind of beat the platform on the targeting side, which is crazy, especially with all the...
So you're telling me that there are still agencies that have targeting setups within their campaigns?
Interest targeting, interest stack, even on like quite big accounts that are spending, 100K a month plus, 200K a month plus, which I don't have anything against audience targeting, but it's just not the way to, like, across all of our accounts, we don't know that. We really trust the platform with Advantage Plus, with we really let Meta and the platform take control of that. And on the other hand, where we really spend a lot of our time on is on the creative. And that's why we have all our thesis on like TikTok shop, kind of the unified commerce. So when we see that, it's immediately like a big no. It's just, I think you're just prioritizing the wrong thing. Now, on the other hand, something that, this is just by speaking with clients, a lot of agencies or marketers in general really focusing on soft metrics. Every time that we get a report and, the goal is to lower the cost per click by 50 cents, I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense. Like, we shouldn't focus on lowering the cost per click. We should focus...
That literally has nothing to do. There is no correlation between your cost per click and your business being profitable.
Depends on so many, we can argue that, again, industry, maybe in the same industry we can look at that, but it depends on so many things that, again, I don't see the value of spending time and looking at the cost per click in an ad account and see, well, we're going to hit our bottom line target by lowering the cost per click by 50 cents. It's just, why I'm saying that is there's still agencies that do that.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's agencies and like what percentage? Like say you audit 10 accounts, 100 accounts, out of those, how many are like outdated strategies? I want to put a percentage on it first.
I would say 50% are, and this is actually the other thing that I want to say is, it's possible that some strategies are very outdated, but when you look at the end results, it's still like fine. So I'm not saying that it's completely wrong, but I'd say like, what's the potential? This could be even much, much, much better. I would say 50% are really outdated strategies. And then like another 25%, I'm like, okay, well, there's like a mix. It's like, you're going the right direction, but you're still like playing around with some stuff, which maybe it's not really necessary. And then like 25%, I think they have a maybe good enough setup or they're doing the right thing. So
is it outdated strategy like traffic, engagement, awareness, and
traffic, some ABO testing, but really over relying on ABO and not using any CBO to scale. These are the main things. Not testing enough creative.
I can even add to that, like as the person who explains to prospects and clients when they come in the findings of Matteo's audits and actually walks them through. 9 times out of 10, their exact words is, I don't know what my agency is doing. They don't tell me. I don't know what the strategy is. I don't know if there is one, but I'm not happy with the media buying and I don't know why. And so it's always hearing that client say, well, I've gone through 4 or 5 agencies and none of them had a strategy. None of them had a thesis. And that's something, Matteo, you said earlier on, that like pulling that out, we have a thesis. And that's something that I think a lot of agencies don't have. We know some of the bigger names out there, they have one. If you have one, you're loud and proud about it. The agencies that don't have that, that should be like a walking red flag, in my opinion.
What ownership is on the brand though? Like, yeah, there's a ton of agencies that suck, but shouldn't there be ownership on the brand? Like, are you not hiring, vetting, and then auditing what they're doing? Like, I hear that all the time. It's like, oh, well, we don't know what our agency's doing. It's like, okay, well, yeah, it's a third-party vendor that you're putting just 100% trust in day one. Like, do you not vet and audit them? Like, where's the brand's responsibility here?
I honestly, like, bit of a take here. If we want to apply like the law of the lid, I think it actually applies here as well. The people vetting the agencies are not the people who actually run the marketing team 9 times out of 10, at least from my experience. It is the
or understand what actually matters.
Exactly. They're not educated enough. They don't have the knowledge. They are going to be sold because they're looking to buy something. And that, I think, is like just a massive shift that needs to happen. They're typically talking to the person who handles partnerships. They are given a spreadsheet or a list of requirements. Hey, this is what we need for ROAS, being a very outdated metric that people still look at for profitability. They're looking at things that are, I'm going to say, like 4 to 5 years in the past, sometimes more, and they just don't have the knowledge. They're going to look at a pretty deck, a pretty dashboard, and think that equates to talent and strategy, and that's just not the case.
So, Matteo, you said that most agencies are trash. Let's get into GMV Max specifically, right? Like, Matteo's like, I didn't say that. Yes, you did. I'm going to rewind this. Yeah. So that most agencies are trash when it comes to buying on TikTok Shop specifically. And I think a lot of people are on this podcast, listening to this podcast specifically because they're like, newsflash, there are hardly any real experts when it comes to TikTok Shop. I saw somebody on X yesterday posting and just said like, hey, who besides at Jordan West Ecom actually can prove screenshots of what works on TikTok Shop? I will tell you, virtually nobody, because a lot of times we're like, man, TikTok Shop is hard. Man, we're having a hard time. And then we realize that we're going to be the only platinum partner on TikTok Shop in North America. And we're like, oh, okay. So we actually do it. I think we just set our standards incredibly high here. When you're looking specifically at media buying, and I know, Matteo, you see the whole picture when it comes to this stuff, right? When you're seeing the whole picture when it comes to this stuff, what are they doing wrong?
Okay, let's start from I'll just say everything. First thing in terms of the media buying structure, like again, we know that now with TikTok Shop, it's GMV Max campaign is the standard. Okay, a lot of brands, they are still again, it really depends on the brands. You might have 1,000 products, you might have one product. You need to understand that you need to hit a certain target ROI and you need to have a certain volume of content. A lot of brands,
and I'm assuming that there's a correlation between those two.
There's a direct correlation. So the more content you have, the more money you're able to spend on the GMV Max campaign, and of course, the more money you're able to generate in GMV. Now, the main thing is you need to make sure that this is the main problem with TikTok Shop is you might get really good numbers, but what we really care at SEC is like, are we making money? Like, Jordan, your screenshots are amazing, and we send these screenshots every day in our channels, but what we're really tracking beyond that is, what is our contribution margin? Are we actually making...
Totally. That is the next question.
It's a great platform, but there's so many fees, so many like different... It's completely different, but that's the first thing. A lot of agencies, we have multiple clients or audits that are made like, oh wow, we're generating 200K a month in GMV, which is great, but how are we losing 50K a month? Like, it's like, well, is that good? Maybe not. Or again, it depends on the strategies. But no, when you look at the media buying side, it's like, okay, well, a 3x return for maybe a brand, a 3x return is amazing on the D2C side. But on TikTok Shop, it's just not enough. So we need to make sure that not only by posting more content, but also with the media buying and through the GMV Max campaigns, we are asking the platform for a much higher return. Again, some of the screenshots that you're posting and some of the results we're getting, we have a 10x, 11x return. Of course, it's incredibly good, but that's also what we need to be profitable at that scale. So to go back to your question is like why these agencies are trash, like you said. One, maybe they don't know especially on TikTok Shop, they don't have the know-how because everything is new and everything is like changing every 2 days. And the other thing, again, I think it's been around for a year and a half now, but it really feels like everything is changing every day. And we are in a very privileged position because we are really in the front of everything and we have access to the best TikTok.
Totally. We get to alpha test everything, right? Like alpha and beta test, whatever's coming down the pipe, Social Commerce Club knows about it before you do. I just want everyone to know.
This is maybe the only flex that I usually like to do is there are features on TikTok.
So just one sec, everyone, hold off. This is a new segment on the Social Commerce Club podcast, Matteo Flex. A Mateo, which never happens. I don't know if I've ever seen you flex, Mateo.
This is worth it though. There are features on the TikTok platforms that are there because we specifically request that. It's like, this is again, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, we had a lot of meetings with the TikTok product team. And we're like, guys, GMV Max is insane, but it would be amazing if we could do this. And a lot of times, maybe 2 weeks after, it's like, hey guys, you know the thing that we spoke about 2 weeks later, 2 weeks ago? It's now available. Please test that. You have alpha, beta testing, access, whatever. So we really do have a lot of really good insights from the TikTok product team. We have amazing support for most of our clients. And again, that's a competitive advantage that we have. So I think this also really helped us being at the forefront of everything that is happening. So yeah.
Mateo, I want to rewind to like one point you made that I think we should double down on is you said just the number of quantity is probably the biggest correlation to success. But then there's brands out there that just have like a shit ton of videos with TikTok Shop, but they're still in GMV prison of under 50K a month. So is that like, where is the counterpart to that? Like, is it just a pure quantity game? But then there has been case studies or like business cases that come across our desk where like we're getting thousands of videos, but we're still only getting like 40K of GMV. So then what's the next lever to pull?
Not really. So of course it's also a matter of quality. You need quantity, but you need quality as well. But before quality, you need a lot of quantity. Like it's very important that we have that. To be honest, if I look at all the audits that we've done, it's very rare that you have a lot of videos and you're struggling. It's rare. Usually what happens is you used to have a lot of videos, you used to make a lot of GMV, and now you're panicking and you're like, why my GMV is down 50%, what's happening? And most of the times we look at the number of videos posted and they're also down 50%. So I'm like, well, you have no new content in the ecosystem, like your creators are not posting, you don't really have any community, so I'm not really surprised that your GMV is down. That's usually what we see about it.
So you're talking about a direct correlation between videos produced by creators on TikTok Shop and GMV. I just want everyone to understand, like, that is the lever, right? Like when people ask, like so many people want these walkthroughs. I just did one on YouTube, but like this walkthrough of GMV Max, and it's like, well, we need to step back. And it's the exact same thing that we've been talking about for so long on Meta. Creative and creative volume and creative diversity are the things that matter.
And there's another insight that I want to share. To be honest, this might be a little bit outdated because we did this exercise 6 months ago and it's something that I want to do again in January. But we looked, again, it was 6 months ago, we looked at all of our top accounts in terms of GMV, and we usually saw that for every million in GMV on TikTok Shop, we were generating 40 million impressions. Again, it's not video posted. The video posted might be different, but we were on average generating 40 million impressions.
Oh, I'm going to be quoting that. I'm on X right now quoting that. For every million of GMV, we're producing 40 million impressions.
Or the other way, for every 40 million impression, we're generating 1 million in GMV. So we had accounts that are making 3 million in GMV. Well, usually on average, we have about 120 million impressions per month, of course. Again, that was 6 months ago. This is another exercise I want to run in January or Q1. But it was a clear pattern, actually. It was quite clear that there was again, pattern almost.
And that's just GMV, right? Like that doesn't even count that 40 million of that, like half of that could be going to Amazon. Yeah. Brand equity, Shopify. So that's an insane ratio even just on platform.
Also just remember big brands, right? So if you're listening to this and you are not, one of the big brands out there, right? Like, and we're talking like $100 million plus, those brands are measuring CPMs, right? That is the biggest thing that they are measuring on. They're constantly looking at what is it going to cost to get in front of the customer. TikTok Shop is the cheapest possible way to get in front of people in 2025. It like 40 million impressions. Awesome. You did $1 million in sales. Well, you also just generated, and I should go do the math off the side of my desk here, but 40 million impressions at a $30 CPM is something like $1.2 million of actual value that you got from those impressions. Wild. Wild for brands, right? And small brands don't understand this. That's the problem, is like people that were raised on like, I'm just going to put money into Facebook ads, don't get what brand value actually is, right? That's how you actually build a brand that's worth money, right? The reason why there's so many brands out there, and probably a lot of people listening to this, that your brand is worth shit all, is because you don't understand these concepts.
But where there's
I was going to ask whether or not we could cuss, because I've been like really good. I've been at my at my grandmother's house behavior.
Oh, Brian, no. I mean, we haven't dropped an F-bomb on the Social Commerce Club podcast yet, but like
13, we only get one.
Yeah, like 14A, yeah, PG-13, something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Jordan, what you said about people, like just dumping money into Meta and not understanding how it works, like that is the value of the impressions, but then compound that, and then to make it actually make sense to the D2C person on Meta is the value of the content you're getting from TikTok Shop and your creators, and being able to funnel that back into your other marketing efforts. Like that is just icing on the cake. You're supercharging everything.
Where does the money go though? If I'm a brand and we're saying like the CPMs are so low, but then brands are struggling to break even, like where's the money then? If it is such an efficient platform, and it's not that expensive to advertise, like we're having insane low, like I've seen screenshots from you, Matteo, of like $9 to $5 CPAs for brand, and the CPMs being low, then like where's all the freaking money going? Like why are brands struggling to break even then?
Again, there are a lot of different fees. So I mean, $9, $10 CPA, it's amazing. It's not always the case. You also have cases of like 25, 30, 50. Again, it really depends on the product and a lot of variables, but creator commissions, on average, I would say the average is like, we also did that exercise around 12.5, but let's just say between 10 and 15% that goes to affiliates. Like we need to pay this. Again, the also big advantage, Jordan, you didn't mention, but not only you get all the brand equity, you have thousands of videos that you can reuse. And again, we can get the permission, you can find these deals, it's amazing. But we need to pay these people. So on average is about 12.5% of the GMV that are generating, which for a lot of brands, it is something. You have the TikTok platform. That is, again, another 5%, again, depending on, are you doing fulfilled by TikTok? There are, again, a lot of different variables, but it's another percentage. A lot of times when I look at it, especially how we do things here, is we need to make sure that we build that community for each brand. So a lot of times we have creator deals, incentives that we pay to these creators. That's always like a budget that we need to set aside. So when you add everything up, it is something. Like it's not that the margin wise is not the best platform. Of course, if you do everything properly, it's very possible to be profitable. And
is there a road to profitability? Like, can brands turn a profit on this? Like, it seems like there's a lot of upfront costs, but is there a road to profitability?
That's the problem. So the good thing with Meta is sometimes it works from day one. It's very profitable from day one. Of course, there's the learning phase and blah, blah. The thing that we see on TikTok Shop is there's definitely an upfront investment in terms of just sending out the samples. I don't know, if you need to send out 200, 500 samples, it costs money. But usually, I think the headline here is profitability comes with scale. It's usually let's say the most effective strategy that we saw is first you really try to, through the beliefs and everything, build that momentum and build that GMV, and then you kind of optimize everything else to reach the profitability. Usually when you start to acquire really good talent, to acquire really good creators, maybe instead of 12.5, we need to pay 20% to these affiliates. At the same time, when we are making 500K in GMV, it's a lot easier to lower that affiliate cost a little bit, negotiate better deals with these creators, and make sure that, again, on that end, we're covered and we're doing things properly. Now, on the ad side, when we start from zero, we cannot go immediately for a 10x ROI because we don't have content, we don't know what works. It's a new ad account, maybe everything is new, the shop score is low, who knows? So we need to start with a low target return, sometimes even as low as 1. Now, what happens is as we get the content, as we get everything, we can slowly optimize. I'm thinking one of our best accounts, right now we have an 11x. I think this is another really good headline. This is an account that is making, I think this month we made around 4.2 million. Just on, again, we're shooting this in November. So in November, we're going to make more or less 4.2 million in GMV. And we're doing that with an 11, almost 12x return on the ad side. The first $10,000 that we spent, almost $15,000 that we spent with this account, we were getting a 0.3 return. So it was not profitable at all in the beginning. Again, that was bad, but again, we had to figure out how does this work, the content, the products. There was a lot of learning inside, but it's possible.
So as GMV is growing, you're scaling back commission rates, your ROI is growing. So it's just this upfront, and then profitability comes at scale, which is like almost sometimes the counter opposite to other channels, where like profitability can start at smaller, but then at scale, there's harder, more challenges for profitability. It's almost like reversed here.
Exactly. And the last thing that I want to say here is we also have a lot of cases where we are able to get really good results from day one. So it's not impossible. But again, when you look at the big picture, like on average, this is not the channel where you're profitable from day one. But again, we do have cases where we were super lucky on a video, we were super lucky on the product, maybe the timing. We have an account right now, which it's a perfect gift. We launched it like 2 weeks ago, and I think you guys know as well. We made like, I don't know, 500K in like 2 weeks. Was not expected, but it is possible.
I think it's going to be close to that. That account's going to be close to 7 figures in a month, and they did, all channels last year did like 200-ish K or something like that.
16K last month, and then now they're going to do almost $1 million.
So it is possible, but it's not also normal, let's say.
I just want to say I just want to say thank you, Matteo, for being on here. The Italian obviously has a dinner party that he has to get to because that's classic, sort of Italian sort of thing. He's got a bunch of friends coming over to eat, whatever, pasta, pizza, those kinds of things. Maybe some gnocchi. I'm not 100% sure. I want to shift us into something here that we were talking about, Brywin was bringing up, and I think it's very, very interesting based on, and I'm sharing my screen right now, based on the 2024 and 25 market research for e-commerce brands. Very, very interesting. What are brands actually doing? Here is the breakdown of how big consumer e-commerce brands are managing their Facebook and TikTok media buying. The short answer is the hybrid model rules right now. There is not a simple agency versus not, but here's some really interesting stats. Number one, if you want just a quick TLDR, Facebook and Meta is leaning much more in-house, and really because of Meta's Advantage Plus, and understanding how that is actually driving incremental revenue, a lot of brands have brought Meta fully in-house. Now, TikTok on the other side is leaning much more towards the agency side. And then we bring TikTok Shop in, right? Which is a completely different beast. But right now, 60%, if you guys are seeing this on screen right now, 60% of big brands are still relying on specialized agencies for TikTok Shop. Brywin, you really used to lean heavily on in-house versus agency. Walk me through what you believe now.
So I've actually shifted it completely to the other side, where I am now obviously a big believer in the agency model, and especially. And
you used to work just for
some context, a little bit of background. I used to be in-house, and specifically a little bit different than some other businesses, but you
can flex. Matteo flexed before too.
So this was back in 2016, and we were the biggest and really paving the way for influencer marketing. We had the brands that we were spending the most out of any other brand on influencer marketing, and it crushed. So there's a whole lot of war stories that we can get into there, but everything was under one roof. So we had our digital marketing teams. I built our affiliate marketing teams. We had our influencer marketing teams. Everything was under one roof, and it was the belief at that time was if everything is there, you have greater control of the people and you have greater controls of the outcome. This was a company that a lot of big brands, they were able to appropriately staff and bring in the best talent they could. So when I say we imported people from different countries, we imported people. It was the best of the best. And what that came with it is a little bit of ego, where you're then talking to agencies and you immediately don't trust that they have the best people. You're not picking the team, so you're trusting someone else to pick people that you might not hire yourself. And that's where a lot of the distrust came from, especially having worked with people that were, top of their field at this time in the various different buckets. Speaking to agencies that you're speaking to them and you know more than they do, that's terrifying. And so now I've kind of shifted this line of thinking now that I have been in an agency setting where it's actually encouraged to continue being, and we use the trailblazers quite frequently, but we are now challenged to be not only the best in our field and to be the best that we can be, but to constantly learn and not just stick within our own box. So Matteo, for instance, media buyer, he can speak to creative. He can speak to like product merchandising on TikTok Shop. He's not sticking in his one lane. He's able to expand and go beyond that. And that offers brands a lot more opportunities, I think, in different ways of thinking. So I've shifted pretty heavily on this. And specifically on like the greater control over the people, so you have greater control of the outcome. I used to believe that this was because if you're in a brand, you are accountable to them and your job's on the line. You want to do a good job. You're going to own the outcome. That nobody else is going to give a shit enough about that brand like you do. On the flip side of that, agencies, you have to prove yourself every fucking day. Sorry, there's our F-bomb.
Oh, great. Oh, great. We dropped it. Oh, great. Great. Now we're going to get the E.
So that's my one for there. You have to prove yourself every day. You have to prove yourself on performance. You have to prove yourself in the level of expertise, in your communication, and the above and beyond, and that you care about that brand as much as the founder, as much as the CMO, whomever. That is like a daily thing that your entire team has to stand up and say, I deserve to be here. You deserve to continue hiring us and to keep this partnership going. Whereas in an internal team, from that side, you prove yourself over time. That company has invested in you. You can have a bad day. You can make a bad call. You're likely not going to lose your job over that. You might get a reprimand, a slap on the wrist, but you prove yourself in moments, and that's going to carry you through. Like your career highlights are going to be what defines you, not your low day. A bad day in an agency, that client can say, all right, here's my notice. It's on to the next.
I mean, this is one of the big crazy trends, right? Looking into this is that for Facebook and Instagram specifically, a vast majority of brands are bringing the media buying portion in-house, which is kind of wild, right? When you think about that, but they're also bringing creative strategy in-house, which is very, very surprising to me. And I wonder, like, what do you think about that?
So that's actually the piece that I think I agree with the most. And this is a bit of a hot take, and you guys have heard me say this at least once or twice before. Creative strategy is no longer this special bucket where a select few are able to contribute and own and be masters in the space. It's not like that anymore. The amount of tools we have at our disposal, like Motion is the perfect example, can allow any single person, so long as they care enough about it and they're actually interested in it, to be a creative strategist and go head to head with, some of the bigger players in the game there. So like that, I understand why you would bring that in-house. To me, that is a position that could quite easily work under the brand manager as kind of like an associate brand manager if you're in training there. That is the perfect person to really own that. Now, that being said, where I think that a lot of brands would benefit from having an agency that owns that is whoever is doing your media buying should be doing your creative strategy. And the reason I believe that is just because they're closest to it. They are going to have the fastest feedback loops. They're going to know, hey, this is what's working. This is where it needs to go next. They understand the platforms more than a brand manager will, unless that brand manager has a media buying background or a marketing background. They're going to look at things through the lens of, does this look pretty? Is this aesthetic? How many times do we see an ad on Meta specifically that crushes it, or TikTok Shop, a creator piece of content that you're like, oh my God, this is grainy, this is a little too authentic, and it crushes, as opposed to like the professional photography. And that's a whole other different rabbit hole I can go down, but that doesn't surprise me. Creative strategists, creative specialists, like that should just be part of your toolbox if you're a marketer. No shame to the creative strategists out there, but it's one of those things that I think everyone could benefit from. I
think, like, I agree that agencies suck, but I also think agencies are meant for certain levels of brands. Like, brands should work with agencies when they've hit certain thresholds. Like, when do you define when, and say they work with good agencies? There's a bunch of shitty agencies out there. So like, yeah, exactly. Like people like us, but still there's brands that should not work with us. And it sucks if they would work with us because it's just not a good fit when they should. They should just have either an internal team or they should just do it internally. What are your thresholds? Like, where are you defining, like, okay, this is when you should come work with an agency. If not, keep it internal.
Yeah. So, I mean, the first, it's so simplistic, but it's the first, because I have worked with brands where it's like, you need to bring this internal. If you need a tight level of control where this brand is your baby and you don't trust a single other person to make any decisions without you yes or knowing it, an agency probably isn't going to be the best fit for you. Unless you're looking for an agency that pulls levers, in which case you're going to have a pull lever price tag. You're not going to have strategic guiding partner who you trust to make decisions without going to you first. If you're not willing to have an agency turn on campaigns or run creative or test new angles without your prior approval, it's just not going to work out. Do it in-house. You need that control. Hire your person who is going to do exactly what you tell them, how you want it, and that will work for you. Because there's a lot of brands out there that is the model that they need. I would also say that, price is going to be a factor. Agencies, the level of expertise that you get, using Social Commerce Club as the example, team of 8 players, that would be ridiculously expensive for an internal brand to actually bankroll themselves. I mean, if you think about all of the team members, everyone you need, that has a price tag attached to it. Whereas an agency, again, like, you're paying for a portion of their time for that expertise, but you're paying for the performance. So that's where I think it really, really matters there. In terms of size, and this is something I don't think it's necessarily determined by the size or the revenue of the brand. And the reason I say that is because, Parker, you mentioned, hey, if you hit a wall where you don't have the expertise, that's when you bring in an agency. I think that definitely ties into it. Perfect example is we work with a ton of clients that run certain pieces in-house, but they don't have the expertise or the time or the desire to do other pieces. So like retention, for instance, is a perfect example, or TikTok Shop is an even better example. They're interested in it and they know they don't have the resources, the know-how, or possibly even the interest, because not everyone is going to want to dive in with this, especially if they listen to Jordan and attend his webinars. A lot goes into it. There's so much that goes into it. There's not a lot of people that would sign up for that willingly.
Well, there's no agency, just so you guys understand right now, there are very few brands actually in-housing TikTok Shop specifically, right? Like that is just absolutely crazy. When people are like, yeah, we're just going to take it in-house. It's like, do you understand how many people you have to have and the level of expertise that you have to actually get this done correctly? Like when people want to bring it in-house, I'm like, sure, it's not Facebook ads. Like Facebook ads, totally. Go ahead, bring it in-house. Let the robot do your bidding on Advantage Plus. You probably should have, though, on the other hand, you probably should have at least somebody that you're paying many thousands of dollars an hour that is actually guiding you, because there are certain things that you will not understand when it comes to that kind of stuff. So like I absolutely love the hybrid approach of people in-house on Meta being in there that are actually doing the, like, pulling the levers. And there is one person externally, like we're doing this on TikTok Shop where we have this sort of, like, we call it like the OS Plus model, TikTok Shop OS Plus, where essentially we're the ones guiding the strategy, right? And telling people what to do and how to do it and why to do it. Very, very important, especially with a newer platform like this. And we're going to just see new platforms in the social commerce world like pop up over and over. Like we haven't even gotten into live shopping. Maybe we'll do that for our next podcast, is like talk like specifically more into live shopping and what exactly. I just want to talk through the financial model though, so everyone can understand, like with some actual numbers that I have up right in front of me here. Here's what an in-house team really, truly looks like. Right? So one head of paid social, we're talking about 150, 160,000 a year, a media buyer at 90,000, a creative strategist at 100,000. That, guys, is crazy. That's like $400,000 a year when you add those ones up alone. Just those ones right there, right? 350-ish, something like that, right? That is crazy. So you're telling me that you can do better financially having those 3 people rather than hiring an agency at like 10 to 15K a month, right? Who know this stuff.
And that's not even taking into account the training and the investment involved. You go into an agency, we've got it dialed in. Okay, our people, they're trained. If someone isn't working out, or if someone leaves or has to go on mat leave or something like that, like, you best bet we have another person that you're not even going to notice a difference. If that happens with an internal team, you might be crippled.
Totally. My favorite question to ask, like ages ago, I used to do sales here at SCC, right? And it's true. I used to. And my favorite question to ask every single time is, how many agencies have you gone through, right? Because if you have gone through more than 2 or 3 in a year, I am sorry, you're not coming here. We are the buyer, right? And still very much the buyer, because we have basically an unlimited amount of brands coming in because we understand this space. If you have gone through multiple agencies, please look in the mirror. It is not them, it's you. It is not them.
I was going to say, like, I love that point, Brian. Like, this is something I literally just had a meeting with yesterday, is that if you're thinking the only value from an agency is just like the performance, then you're also missing that. Like, I had like somebody come to me, they're like, oh, this is like, we've had a couple points of contact. It's like, yeah, that's the value we bring. And it was like, how is that value? Like, having a different point of contact in the same year. It's like, well, what's the most expensive part of running a business? It's hiring and firing people. Like, you got to pay that recruiting fee. You got to go train them. It's hours away of you spending on the business. And if somebody on our team isn't performing, yeah, we'll get them out of the hell out of the way. We're going to get somebody else and bring them in. That's us paying a recruiter. That's us training them up. That's us. That is, like, I think agencies are actually half-time recruitment agencies, like HR agencies, as well as performance marketers. So when brands are like, oh, well, my point of contact has changed and I hate that. It's like, well, also, don't you want a new perspective in? So that is all value that an agency brings to the table. And sometimes brands, for some broken reason, think it's a negative, which I just wholeheartedly disagree with.
Yeah, I mean, everyone gets attached. I still have, like, my old clients that love the strategist they're with after me. They still message me to say hi and tell me what a good job their current strategist is doing. But they still miss me. So, like, if I can join a call, it'd be great to see my face. People get attached. We build those relationships. But exactly to your point, like, if something isn't working, you as a client shouldn't see it first. If you're seeing it first, that is a problem. We see it first and we're going to fix it first. And that's the big difference. Like, agencies will make those decisions quickly and swiftly, and you're going to still have a seamless experience. But that's why it's also important for there to be a point of contact that you see at the beginning and you also see, like, every once in a while. So for me, like, that's me for us. So that way there is some continuation of care where they still have a trusted voice in the room. So that way it doesn't feel like you're pulling the rug out from under them, because, like, especially if it's a smaller brand, it can feel that way. So our job is to make sure that it doesn't, and to mitigate that as much as possible.
And I'm just going to say, this is why working with smaller brands, like, okay, so everyone can say, I'm going to throw something crazy out there right now. Okay. Everyone on Twitter and LinkedIn and all of that is allowed to say agencies suck. You know what agencies don't ever say? Brands suck. And guess what? Small, tiny, founder-led brands who are micromanagers friggin' suck. Okay. I'm just throwing it out there, everyone. Okay. None of our clients, but you know who you are. If you got offended by that, that's you.
Also, if you've ran through 3 different agencies in a year, exactly what Jordan said, like, probably you suck to work with. There's a high chance, right? Like, you have to be the common denominator. And I feel like some brands just, like, never look in the mirror.
Brands look in the mirror. Guys, this has been another incredible Social Commerce Club podcast episode. We are going to end with our very favorite thing, the last word. Parker, one sentence. What's your last word for today?
What we just ended on. Agencies suck, but brands suck too. It's a 2-way street.
Everybody sucks. Agencies, brands, look in the mirror. Self-awareness is a beautiful thing.
My last word is that the agency model is phenomenal for brands who don't need and are able to get that area of expertise. TikTok Shop and social commerce is one of those areas that is really, really hard to understand and is changing so incredibly fast, just like Meta was in 2014, 2015. During that time, you had to find experts. This time, TikTok Shop is that. Brands will not understand it on their own. There will be a few brands, right? And then you'll look at them and you'll be like, oh, that's a case study. We should bring it in-house. No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. And you know who you are listening to this right now. Thanks, everyone, so much. We will see you on the next one.
Thanks so much.